Hey everyone, it's the Sith Justice Warriors podcast coming at you with another paddle panel podcast. With that said, I've got my co host, Princess Lumpia.
Hola.
Hola, mi amigo. Well, you're technically not my amigo because tomorrow we're going to go to battle and I'm going to lose because I don't have any players and I'm going to get decimated. I need
It's
Christian
just
McCaffrey.
fantasy football. It is literally all dependent on what happens, and you never know what happens on any given Sunday. But what can I say?
By the way, it's a great movie, and I'd love to talk about that on our tomorrow podcast.
Yes.
That being said, we are on the video game podcast, and so let us bring the big board. So on GameSpot, now I know we talk more about movies on Sundays, but this is also a video game movie. Uncharted movie photo. Tom Holland's Nathan Drake revealed an image from set from GameSpot. I'm not going to read this, but let's take a look at this. Tom Holland in a almost near replica of the Nathan Drake. Actually, it looks more like the Nathan Drake 1 or 2. But
Mhm.
anyway, this is really damn close in terms of outfit. It's not that it's because I associate him with Spider-Man. It's just it's weird because I've been used to Nathan Drake looking a certain way, looking a little more like Nathan Fillion, and it'd be kind of cool if they did an older version of Nathan Drake being Nathan Fillion, but they chose Tom Holland. They did do in Instagram, no, Twitter. Tom Holland did on Twitter this retweet of him talking to Nolan North. And Nolan North is the voice actor for the all four Uncharted's as Nathan Drake. I played 1, 2. I actually never got to finish 3. I never got to 4 either, but 1 and 2 are really good. Let's put our movie hat on. What do you think about this? Because I thought this would be a challenge for Hollywood to do, but
I thought it would be too because, and I have not played the Uncharted, but I'm very familiar with the series, um, and very familiar with Nathan Fillion's involvement. Um, I think they did a great job recreating a younger version of him, and I think it all depends on what the story is going to be for this movie. From what I understand, it's supposed to be a younger version. Nathan Drake, maybe before we knew him as the Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. Who knows? So it'll be interesting, like I said, to see their take on it. What what I will say, which is sad but true, is that Hollywood is really catering to the millennials. And I know Tom is not exactly like, he's almost getting to the age where he's probably not going to be able to play these teen characters like Spider-Man. He's like outgrowing his usage in terms of millennial appeal.
so he's like
But
what's the Harry Potter guy?
Daniel Radcliffe, like
Yeah.
he's getting to like Daniel Radcliffe as at the end of Harry Potter series, where it's like you can no longer picture him as Harry Potter anymore because he's getting so old. And Harry Potter's character was actually younger than what he was. So, although he did grow up on the series, which is fine, we all kind of saw him grow up in front of our eyes. But anyway, I digress. So, what I'm saying is that Hollywood has been skewing a lot younger with a lot of these, if you call them reboots or if you call them sort of video game sort of related, comic book related movies, because of this whole ideal for like appealing to the younger audience, the millennial audience. Because to be honest with you, the true gamers would have probably wanted to see an older, like the character that you see when you play the game.
Yes.
um I will also say that, I mean, they did that with Spider-Man when they did the reboot of Spider-Man and they cast Tom Holland, and he was great for the Spider-Man that he was supposed to portray. But we've talked about it before on the other. there's a true beauty in what was done with the initial Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, that you have to appreciate now as you grow older. Lastly, I did want to say, like, you know, we saw this in a lot of other films, and we're going to continue to see this trend of, skewing to the younger generation or appealing to the younger by casting people that they're familiar with, like the up and coming young actors and actresses. Because nowadays, like for example, the Jennifer, oh my God, she played Mystique.
Jennifer Lawrence.
The Jennifer Lawrences of the world are no longer fit to play those characters. I will say one movie, and we didn't get to cover it as much, but it is video game related, Monster Hunter. I was shocked that they went with Mila Jovovich because she's great. Honestly, she did all those Resident Evil movies, and for a person her age, and she still looks the way she does. Good for her. But I was shocked that they went with her on Monster Hunter, because this would have been a movie I would have thought. I mean, T.I.'s in the movie too, but he's already reaching that peak of like relevance or not. But they actually went with her for the movie, and I thought that was an interesting choice, because I would have thought they wanted these no names to come in and sort of, be the next like sort of monster hunters, if you will. So that's another one that's video game related that we didn't get to talk in depth about. I know the trailer dropped like last week or something, a longer trailer, but especially with the news of the Resident Evil reboot and the new cast for Resident Evil. One of them, the one playing Claire Redfield, is actually from the Maze Runner. So again, you're getting them as they're getting to a point where they're almost at the peak of relevance, and pretty soon they won't be. So this is Tom Holland's chance to just capture that moment. But, I can tell he's trying to act in other movies that are non-hero related, but they're not going so well for him, sadly. He might be typecast. So,
well,
anyway, I'll let you, what do you think?
Yeah, the nice thing about Uncharted is, I don't want to go into this because that really belongs in the other podcast about the Lucasfilm's approach of trying to revive Indiana Jones. This may actually get that crowd of the Indiana Jones crowd, because look, we know Harrison Ford's been phoning it in. But let me bring it back to the video games. I like your point about the idea that this is Tom Holland trying to kind of branch it out, try to shake it up. He doesn't want to be typecasted.
Yep.
So I think this has an opportunity to do well. Maybe Uncharted is trying to make sure that if it becomes successful, that you could do a 2 and a 3.
Yep.
Tom Holland's not that old, because Nathan Drake is kind of an older gentleman.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting, because I'm surprised, because in the game they made sure to subvert expectations in a Rian Johnson way in the fourth one a little bit, and they passed it on to his daughter.
Interesting. Well, I think about the Tomb Raider movie, the second one coming out too, that was recast as well.
Oh God, that was horrible. Okay, it wasn't
too younger person. And there's nothing wrong with Alicia Vikander. Like, if you've seen Ex Machina, she was really very good in the movie. But it was an interesting choice again.
Angelina Jolie, because Alicia Vikander, I think she had. Angelina Jolie, it wasn't, first off, the movies were not the greatest, but they were not horrible. And
they were fun for what they were meant to be. Exactly. Like an adventure. A video game adventure.
But Angelina Jolie resembled closely the Lara Croft of that era.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know they changed Lara to look a little bit more
younger. Yes.
Appropriate.
Yep.
I had no problem with it, because I thought
that game was amazing. Yes.
Was a great game. But I think Vikander, I didn't think she really portrayed Lara well. I don't know. I didn't.
I felt the movie was fine except for one thing. It felt like, and I'll say this as a woman, it felt forced. Like she was like this tough chick, like when she had the gun, like when she went to buy the gun. Like, by the way, Daniel Wu was in the film,
Yes, he was.
which I thought was great for him. But no, I was just like, I was just kind of like, I felt like she was like, it was too forced that she was this tough chick, like in a leather jacket, like.
Maybe I actually might disagree with you on it. I don't think, again, I still agree with you that I don't feel like she was portraying Lara well, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a Tomb Raider fan that I may have probably not seen it, but
But
I
no, that's
actually
what I'm
didn't feel
saying.
that
Like,
way.
she's not. They portrayed her as this tough chick. Remember, she was fighting people like to get her kicks. But Laura
Oh
is not like that.
yeah, I mean
But Laura is not like that. There's an elegance to her, like the one that we know.
that. Well, I see your point. It was like, okay, if that was the
She was like
worst of
getting
it.
her kicks out of like these situations where she was like had her life in danger.
Oh, she was just a thrill seeker.
Yes, yes,
That's what
the
it
word.
was. Because yeah, okay, so I agree. It felt like she was a thrill seeker because she was suicidal, whereas none of the games. This is partially why I said she just didn't represent Lara. She just,
Suicidal is the word.
yeah, she just was like this thrill seeker, suicidal person. But Lara's never been that way in any of the games, even
Exactly. She was an
new ones.
intelligent woman. She did come from a family that had money, but she didn't like she was a very intelligent like this one it was like I have a lot of money and I'm just wasting it all like because I can like
Yeah, Lara.
bratty. It was almost like a bratty,
Yeah,
which Laura even in the game the rebooted game
never was that
was
way.
not that way.
No, that's why I say she just never represent. They
The essence of
misrepresented
Laura,
her.
which is really her mind,
Mm-hmm.
didn't come through to me. And yes, she could do those things because she trained herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like she really trained with people like to learn those things. So like I recall, and I'm referencing the old movies with Angelina Jolie, but remember in the beginning of the one, she's battling a droid that they created so that she could not get her kicks. She was training.
She was.
So like what the crap? Like that's Laura, not I'm gonna go get into a fight because I need the thrill of it. And
Yeah.
that's not the essence of Lara Croft.
Now, Laura was always an archaeologist at heart. It was
Yep.
never, I'm rich. I'm trying to either kill myself or just get an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But maybe I watched it at a time when we've seen things like Rey Skywalker, as they ended it, do her thing, and Captain Marvel do her thing in the movie theater. So maybe
No, that is true. So maybe we were jaded, but
yeah.
I did, like I said, I did watch it on a plane ride, and I didn't think it was horrible, but I felt like there was something missing about Lara Croft. And the essence of Lara is that she was an intelligent person who wouldn't be doing that to herself. She wouldn't be risking her life like that for the sake of that she could. She would be risking it for something good. And that's the difference between the two. But maybe it's because she's young in this one. She's allowed to make mistakes before she becomes the Lara that we know, but it just didn't jive with even the game.
No, the game, the first one that you were referring to was
Yes.
she already was an archaeologist at heart.
Yep.
So there was no come to Jesus moment.
No, there was none, and this wasn't like I'm going to like follow in my father's footsteps. Like she already was. Like that's the missing piece, and I'm talking too much about movies, but it is video game related. So
they're both video game related. So.
It is tough. It's tough to translate a video game, but some have done it right, and some but you have to respect the cheesiness of that the first Tomb Raiders that we did see with Angelina Jolie, because at the time that was the way it was. That was the game. That was the 90s. That was like, or late 90s, 2000s, right? Like, so like that was the way things were. Like even Daniel Craig surprisingly was in that movie.
Yes, he was.
So like, and Gerard Butler. So like, this is like before they were stars. So,
Dude, Gerard Butler sang in Phantom of the Opera too.
I know. So yeah.
Well,
But
let's stop
like
there.
said, I think Tom Holland will be fine. It's just a matter of the story and how they put it together, and if they stay true to the character of Nathan Drake. If they do, then great. If they deviate, then it's going to be a hard sell for the people who have grown to love him.
Yeah, well, I heard, again, I didn't play 3 to 2, 4, but I actually heard that on 4, it was around the time that, everyone wanted to go a direction. They actually changed the character a little bit in a sense that's like, wait, we ended it that Nathan was a family man, and then he left his wife, and, it was weird. And then they made the spin-off, the spin-off of the 2 female characters of their own spin-off. And so they kind of insinuated that maybe Uncharted 5 will be his daughter. But we'll see. They do make good games though, Naughty Dog, so let's give them credit for that.
Yep.
Sticking to PlayStation, because I don't want to be called a fanboy. PS5. So GameSpot and a lot of other review organizations and influencers have started getting free PS5s. So I guess this is a quickie, right? So one thing I have to say, GameSpot, I hate the fact that I gave you a click, because to write an article headline that says, we have the PS5 and here's the box, and then the PS5 does indeed come in a box and this is what it looks like. This is journalism. Oh, God. So no need to read this. Blue and white glory. It's actually kind of a clean. It's clean. I give it credit. It's clean. Interesting that they put 8K, 4K, 120 HDR, and that's all dependent on the developer, that you get 4K, 120 hertz, 8K as well. We don't even have 8K TVs right now, do we?
There are. If you have a couple grand to drop, but yeah, there are.
Yeah, well, till then. So they have the box. You're going to probably start seeing some reviews and impressions, which is good, because it's about damn time. I mean, so Xbox has had theirs out in the wild for a month. And then what I've been seeing in Twitter is there's been this fascination of, here's the PlayStation 5 box, here's an egg, here's a banana. This is journalism. I think it's basically just to say, hey, this is how big this box is. And I think we've all seen it, the comparisons between the PS5 and the theoretical comparison to the Xbox Series X, that this is a taller, bigger console. Let's not talk about the journalistic qualities of this, but let's just talk about the fact that, one, what do you think, Lumpia? That you think that this size is actually shocking? Do you think people care? What do you think?
I think it's funny that people care, because I mean, we all know there's bits and pieces there protecting the case. So like, we all know what's inside of it. I think it's kind of funny that this is the way life is now, and that, like you said, this is journalism. This is what we care about, to put on pictures of our Instagram or Twitter.
It's clicking. So it's not just me giving them a click. It's other people.
I think it's just the curiosity of it. I do remember when my PlayStation 3 came in a long time ago. It was a pretty sizable box. I would say it was probably 5 inches shorter than that box. But still, it was big, because there were a lot of components inside of it that had a case or a box in a box. And if you think about it, you have to protect the equipment. So I'm guessing it's a lot of protection that's going on in there, because we all know it's just one controller,
what is it? One controller,
one tower, the HDMI cable, the power cable,
a stand,
a
cable,
and then the printed material. So like, if you think about it, I bet you it's as tall as the tower in the picture, but you have to have room to protect it. So you build something. So it's probably the height of that picture, the tower, and then literally the rest of it are the pieces in boxes. Because it's the only way you would do it. I just think it's funny that this is what's important to people.
If it's shipped, I hope it's protected in the box. That being said, I mean, for the PS5 fans, I'm happy that this. I guarantee you, this excited them. I bet you this. Is there a way I can see how many people clicked this? No, there's at least 173 comments.
Yeah.
And then also
just the excitement. Yes.
But it's also good in a sense that it's about how many weeks? 2-3 weeks away. You've seen Series X's out there. You've got influencers giving impressions. Though timely, there's specific timings that they can give their reviews because there's non-disclosure agreements. If you want to know a review before you buy, they kind of need to release that impression soon. Like I said, I'm going to hold out. My PC is enough right now to play some games and then see how it all shakes out. But good for getting them in the wild because it's about damn time we hear people's impressions outside of controlled Sony environments. So let's hope it's good because, hey, if Sony keeps pressing Microsoft is just going to buy another company again for like $10 billion, right? Oh man,
who's next?
What's next?
No, I said who's next.
Well,
but yeah,
I'll tell you what's next is on the Xbox side. I think the kind of big news that I felt, well, there's two. One of them was Gears 5, one of their pillars, the Gears of War. Gears of War is got a few updates for the Series X and S. Also, the game is getting updated. That there are new modes. One, let's see, getting an add-on in December called Hive Busters. It's basically, what is this? A giant piece of content, 3 to 4 hours to play. They're also getting some enhancements of the graphics, the ray tracing, and then let's see what else. DLC. Let's see, Gears of War DLC. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and then you can remove Marcus and put Batista.
Oh, I was gonna say that looks like him.
Yeah, because isn't he doing this whole big thing about trying to be Marcus in the movie? Because there was a weird movie, he really wouldn't mind being Marcus, younger Marcus, I guess. And I'm actually surprised that they are updating this, given that this has been a year or so.
Yeah,
good game, but I mean, what do you think? Are you coming back to Gears 5 because you still have to play through?
I'd love to beat it, but I'm excited there's something new because you got to keep it fresh. And I'm sad to see that they never expanded Gears beyond Gears 5 in the sense of like they need more downloadable content. Like they need more like add-ons, and I'm surprised they didn't do that with it because I think they got busy. Because what else do they make?
Coalition only makes these just Gears.
So then something happened there because you would think that by now you'd have like specific packs, they clearly don't get the whole monetization piece of games.
But... No. To be fair, they do. But okay. It's like, it's more loot box stuff. Like you want the skin. Well, actually, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And a lot, they've been pushing out like the Terminators. Well, the launch was the Terminator skin. Then they had a bunch of other skins.
That's right. That's right.
It could be Dom from Gears 1 through 3.
Maybe this is what they were working on this whole time. So maybe that's what they were prepping for. But like I said, I was hoping to see more than just skins. Like more of the game. Like, okay, this is a new mission for you. Like, but I don't know how it ended, so don't spoil it for me. But
yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
If it ended in a way that, like, okay, then there's nothing else that could happen, then fine, I get it. But if it ended in a way where, like, other things could have happened, like other, you know what I mean? Like I feel like
Well, dude, I could say this. There's definitely more to go on with the ending of Gears 5. I think
okay.
when you play the ending, I think I'm confused at how you're going to move forward. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I found it confusing because I didn't feel Gears was a that type of game where decisions change your future. How about I'll leave it at that?
Okay. Got it.
So you and I probably need to play it. Hey, you got games, you got Game Pass Ultimate, so you can play it on your two phones.
Exactly. And I just had a really weird thought that I'm going to probably try it after this. But I have a Google Chromebook and I was like, my Google Chromebook is technically a tablet. Can I play Game Pass on this Chromebook?
Does it have the app?
Yeah. It
Oh,
runs
crap.
like a tablet. I gotta try it. Anyway.
Oh crap, you
Okay.
can because I could play it on my
This is
my Samsung
crazy to
tablet.
think this, but yeah, I'm gonna test it out after this call. Anyway.
Yeah. So kudos to Gears. Now let's talk about a little more in depth about the future, and that is the idea that xCloud's going to have a TV streaming stick for what you've just said. The playing it
Oh
on
yeah, for
playing
the,
on
for the Game Pass.
I guess that's kind of a good way to segue. And so I guess let's see what they say here. Phil Spencer, they had a conversation with State Stratchery. Never heard of that. Phil Spencer had a call interview with them, and they were talking about Game Pass tiers. And I guess the potential would be you got Game Pass for PC, Game Pass for Xbox, and then Ultimate for both. And then there's this discussion that you could possibly pay for a higher tiered Xbox Game Pass with to play xClouds on a bundled TV stick. It says, I think you're going to see lower priced hardware as part of our ecosystem when you think about streaming sticks and other things that somebody might want to just go and plug into their TV and go play xCloud. You can imagine us even having something that is we just included in the Game Pass subscription that gives you the ability to stream xCloud games to your TV and buy the controller. Potential for a Game Pass Platinum with guaranteed access to new Xbox hardware. Interesting. So I guess it's kind of like all access where you could pick a Series X, Series S, and pay it on a monthly basis. And I know they've streamed Halo 4 from the cloud.
Yep.
I played it. You have played it as well. We played Destiny on it.
Yep. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
It has its limitations, like if it crashes a lot, and it does. I will say, if you're playing on your mobile phone, it takes up a lot of like battery. And like I felt the heat from my phone. However, and it also depends on your location. Like you can't be in a country that manages their internet and doesn't allow this kind of stuff, this cloud gaming. But for the most part, if you want a quick game, and then the titles aren't all there, but I'm sure for the people that play Call of Duty, you'd love to play it on your phone this way. But it's a nice, easy way to do it on the go. I'm going to try it on my Chromebook and see if it's possible, because if you have a tablet, I could envision it being a better experience, but you still won't be able to literally that picture there, clip it on, and play it. But I think this is an interesting concept because there was another article I read as well, as we migrate towards this whole idea of streaming, what is the concept of paying more than $70 for a video game? And so, like I said, this is interesting. I'm not surprised. I'm laughing because the streaming sticks make me think of the Amazon Fire Stick. And this is probably borrowing off that idea. Just plug it in and you can play wherever.
Well, actually, I think the Amazon gaming service is using just your Fire Stick.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go search it in the background, but I
Because there's got
believe
to be licensing issues. That's the only thing that I could see. Like, if you don't have, that's probably why Amazon has that partnership with Ubisoft. You probably won't be able to play it without the licensing component, and that's the piece that I think it needs to be shown, like fleshed out a little bit. Because what if you won't have as many games available to stream? But then my biggest question, and that was my first reaction at this article, was what happens to me buying the Xbox then? Why do I need to have an Xbox?
they don't care.
Yeah, right? They don't care.
Luna, so it's Luna, right? So Amazon Luna is available on PC, Mac, Fire TV, and web apps for your iPhone and iPad.
Okay, so not for Android, huh? Let's not even mention Stadia, whatever.
Oh god,
People
yeah.
not even
Well,
talking to the
oh,
guy.
dude, it even has Trails of Cold Steel 3. Streaming for everyone. They've got, a bunch of third party. Luna's $6 per month, and then on top of that, you have the Ubisoft additional channel, 1080p 60. Oh, that's right. For Amazon, you need the controller, their controller. I guess Xbox. You probably no Xbox X Cloud. You can, if you're playing on your phone, you can use the touch screen.
See, like
Now,
I said,
it's not as responsive, but if you want to, you can.
huh?
I'm just looking at, because Fire TV includes the stick, right?
Yeah, Fire TV is the stick. It's not a subscription service. All it does is it brings up Amazon for you. If you have a Prime account, it brings that up. But it also allows you to download apps. That's why I'm a little confused, because instead of, and this was smart of them, because in a weird way, it's going against something like a Roku.
And let me clarify. You could play it on a Luna controller, an Xbox One, a DualShock 4, or a mouse and keyboard. So it actually doesn't even matter. You just have to pay the service, the $6 a month.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand then. And it's all on the cloud, so you don't need memory.
Mm-mm.
Are you paying for the service? Are you paying to store the memory?
I'm assuming that your subscription is your cloud.
I don't know. I think it only gives you certain gigabytes. Let's put it that way.
Well, we'll have to see, because it's still in early access, but I'm not surprised.
You think, like, why should I buy a Xbox?
But Microsoft says, play it where you want. I just want your $15 a month.
Jesus Christ. And that is the crux of it all, isn't it? What we said.
I mean,
truly what we talked about.
I mean, first off, the best experience is on PC. The second best will be on console.
Yep.
And then the third or fourth, I don't know what you want to call it, but
will be basically if you don't have the money to buy the console, but you want to be able to play, or you can't bring your console with you and you want to play. Mm-hmm. I've gone to national meetings where people bring their Xboxes.
There are. I give them credit.
I no joke. I work with a lot of people who bring their Xbox with them, and that's what they do on the downtime. So between meetings. So that's not unheard of. There's actually a market for this kind of stuff once we get back to traveling again. And, you go to a hotel. Each hotel could be equipped with one of these sticks.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the Switch really sort of pushed our boundaries, right?
Yeah, it did.
Because you could it was a console that you could take with you. Like, I always bring my Switch going on vacation.
Yep.
So I think that idea, given that Microsoft and Amazon and Google are more of a cloud, like they have that cloud infrastructure, they're looking at that and say, if the Switch is so popular, instead of me putting money into building a device dedicated to that, mobile gaming, why not just let the user use what they already have, which is a phone? That being said, I'm not surprised if this is true. I've heard rumors about a streaming stick for a while. And there is a market for people, whether it's parents that don't want to pay $300 to $500 at the beginning for a console. They are willing to just pay $15 a month or so to say, here's a stick, here's a controller, have at it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So I given that actually Amazon has opened the salvo saying you just need your Fire Stick, I'm actually kind of surprised that Xbox is kind of a little bit behind, to be honest.
Yeah, I just think the difference between Amazon and Microsoft is I agree with you in that Amazon's ahead of its time in that sense, but it doesn't have the right. It's either the infrastructure or the right backing to do it like full fledged, like 110%. Whereas I think Xbox is trying to take it slow because they want to get it right. Because think about it, we used the example before with like VR, virtual reality, and that shit. Like, if you don't do it right the first time, no one's gonna follow. No one's ever gonna pick it up again. And I talk about like Oculus and virtual reality and that stuff, which was so cool to think about in the 90s. Come flash forward to today, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. And so, even in this pandemic situation, nobody wants virtual reality. So, we're not like in the movies, we're not like Judge Dredd. We're not all plugging into virtual realities to stimulate our video games, our lives, our like sim characters. Like, we're not there. And so, that was the future that back in the 90s and 80s we were looking forward to, and it's now it's available and it's not happening because it didn't happen good. And you have to do it right. Amazon's willing to take that risk because they can test the waters. They have the money. So I think it's good that they're doing that because it's pushing people like the Xboxes, the PS of the world, the Nintendos of the world to start think differently. And so, like you
I
said,
would actually love it if PlayStation would just do like a Game Pass, because if I all I have to do is just play it on like a tablet, I don't have to buy when Persona 6 comes out the freaking $500 box, and it's just
well, I wish they integrated the PSP a little bit more with the PlayStation, the current PlayStation. That's the miss there, but they did that on purpose because they need you to buy both. The problem is that it would have been nice if they integrated both.
I thought the
Switch.
Vita was supposed to be that, and they really fucked it up.
No, see, that's what I'm saying. So like it's like I think PlayStation has kind of like said we're moving away from handhelds, let Nintendo have it, and they did it right. And that's the difference. And so but Nintendo has always done it right. If you think about the Game Boy and how many iterations of the Game Boy have come since the first one.
And the DSs.
And the DSs. So again, Nintendo's got the formula for that. So I feel like everyone's kind of like, you do you, we're going to do this way. I do think that the reason Xbox has to tread cautiously is because it could get old real fast if it's done wrong. And the only reason that Amazon cannot do it so fast is because they don't have an Xbox or PlayStation, which goes back to what you were saying. If they bought PlayStation, they could do this. They could do what they're trying to do because they have the backing of this brand associated to such a big gaming community. Whereas, like, I feel like Xbox is like, they're stealing share from me slowly. I can't have that. That's where all my efforts are going to go then. Because people, like, companies like Amazon are stealing it from me. Google tried to do it, but they failed. Like, so this is Xbox's new, this is the other front of the war. Everyone always thinks it's Xbox versus PlayStation, but clearly Xbox is making it very clear it's not anymore. It's all about streaming. It's all about xClouds. It's all about the servers. It's all about it being being virtual and available where you go. So
I'm standing by my prediction that
no, I know. I think
Amazon.
it'll get closer, but there are a couple things in the way of it. But if Amazon had that, then literally, if I were Microsoft, I'd be like freaking shaking because I'd be like, what the
Well, they got to buy for 10 billion. They just got to buy EA, or they got to buy because
or Square Enix.
yeah, they got to buy something like it. Because actually, the weird thing is that Ubisoft is in a partnership with Amazon that they have their own streaming channel that people pay an additional amount for on top of your $6 a month or so. That's the introductory price.
Yep.
And I just found it fascinating because I think there's a couple of games that are on Game Pass that are Ubisoft. I mean, Division was on there. I just found it fascinating that Ubisoft was kind of throwing their lot with Amazon. So that was actually
they must run on their cloud-based servers.
It must be that or something like that.
So yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting. But this is the new Warfront. This is it. Whoever gets this right first, and Xbox wants to be it, they will have the market, and that's the key.
Yeah. Well, what the only thing that Microsoft right now has the edge on is studios and games. Like, say what you want about last generation, but to have purchased all the studios they have and the whole FU Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda.
You know they're not going to put it on Amazon. You know they're not going to put it on Google Stadia. So,
yep. Especially Elder Scrolls, we talked about that. Like,
that's not going anywhere near them.
That's a big one. And the other thing is, it's like the availability for PC. I don't know how the Fire gaming works, like how crossplay works with it. Is it PC friendly? I don't know. Like, I don't know much about that stuff.
See, at least with Xbox, I could play with my Xbox friends.
Yep.
PC, I mean, PC you can do that too, but like, well, maybe that's more of a like developer decision because like if you play Google Stadia, Destiny 2, it does not connect. Like it's not crossplay.
Oh, so there is no crossplay.
But like, yeah, actually, yeah, there is no crossplay, so it's dying. And then actually, it's the same thing across the board. PlayStation people can't play with Xbox people because, like, my buddy Wushu would just be playing it on freaking PlayStation, and we could have our third member back. But what can we do?
Exactly. Well, but like you said, it's a space to watch, and I'm very excited because it only means good things for the people who enjoy video games plus more.
As Microsoft says, you got to reach that 2 billion gamers around the world.
Exactly.
This is the only way you do it.
Yeah, and putting it in the hands of people who can't afford $500, like a $500 like system, because like we said before, just buying the system is not enough. You have to have the TV. You have to have, and I know TVs are cheap now, but you have to have the TV. You have to have a home with electricity that works for the TV. You have to have internet. You have to have, it's not just $500. So like, let's be realistic. Some people don't have cable. They pay for the internet. Like, it's literally like choices you have to make. And you know what? I appreciate that they're trying to reach the gamers. There's a business aspect to it that I get, but there's also like, you know what? Everyone should have access to it. Why shouldn't they? So if you give someone options, like I can pay and trade it in later for the next model, like a phone, or I could buy one, or I could buy a used one, or I could buy this stick. Like, if you give more options, I think that really does exactly what you're trying to do. Get it out there to the people that you don't get, that you're not capturing, that You know, it's all about the content and how it operates. So you have to get it right.
Yep. So we'll wrap it up there. We'll probably be talking about this more in the future as the next generation decides to start very soon, actually. So look forward to talking more about that. So with that said, thank you for joining. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our content. Hit the bell for notifications to get future notifications as we put more content out there, like our show tomorrow. Um, that and Also reach out to us at our Twitter handle at Justin Sith, and just know that we are on popular podcasts like Spotify. So look out for us in the future, and hope to talk to you soon. And see you on the Sith side.
Bye.